Today we're talking with the AMC of the Year, an award that tends to surprise everyone, including the winner. This recognition is not about volume, speed, or clever acronyms. It's about leadership that shows up when it's inconvenient, quality that does not need explaining, and a real commitment to both lenders and appraisers, which is harder than it sounds. This conversation is refreshingly human. It's about doing the job well, earning trust the slow way, and proving that the middle of a transaction does not have to be a problem child. If you have opinions about AMCs, and you do, this one's worth hearing. Stick around.
ACI introduces ACI Sky Workbench, a cutting-edge cloud-based platform designed to streamline UR/AR appraisal report generation like never before. With seamless workflow integration, automated data management, and built-in compliance, Workbench empowers appraisers to work smarter, faster, and with greater accuracy. Visit aciweb.com for more info. You're listening to the Appraisal Buzzcast with your host, Hal Humphreys.
Welcome back to today's Appraisal Buzzcast. My name is Jim Morrison, and let me bring in our host, Hal Humphreys. Hey, Hal, how are you doing?
Jim, I'm doing great today. How are you?
I'm doing really fabulous. We're really excited today because we're announcing another Buzzy Award winner. And our Buzzy Award winner that we're interviewing today is Michelle Golden from Accurate Group. She's the chief appraiser, and we are announcing her as the AMC of the Year. So congratulations, Michelle, to you and Accurate Group. It's a really big award.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So glad to be here.
Michelle, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to be with us. I know you're crazy busy. Congratulations to Accurate Group on being named the 2026 AMC of the Year. Would you do me a favor, for those that don't know Michelle, just tell us a little bit about your background, how you got into this messy business of real estate appraisal and appraisal management.
Awesome. Well, thanks for asking, Hal. I have actually been in the appraisal business for over 30 years. I have been here at Accurate Group for 3 years. Prior to that, I've been in leadership roles at Wells Fargo, Capital One, the Loan Quality Center at Fannie Mae, and actually did some loan pool trading at Goldman Sachs. But I did kind of cut my teeth in the field in North Carolina. I spent 10 years there in the foothills doing appraisals. So a shout out to my mentor, Austin and Kathy Smith.
I love that. That's awesome. And you're no longer in North Carolina, are you?
Now I'm actually living in Florida, but even in between North Carolina, I lived in Texas for 18 years. So
Well, bless your heart for that.
bless your heart. We just wanted a little warmer weather, unsubscribing to snow and ice. So that's what
Nice.
brought us here to Florida.
I love it. Accurate Group works with appraisers and lenders across the country. No easy task working with those two groups. What do you believe sets your organization apart in a very competitive AMC landscape?
We've never lost sight of the fact that this is a people-driven business. So we treat our panel with respect. We're consistent. We're transparent. We communicate often. We get that communication often back from our appraisers. So it's just a matter of keeping those avenues open, right? And just being respectful. We support them where they are. We understand they're the experts in the field. And, we emphasize quality over speed. So I think, in generating and supporting those relationships over the past 20 plus years, I think that's really kind of helped us kind of stand out above and beyond. But we set clear expectations with our lender partners and our appraisers. I think that's key, is communication.
It is the most important thing in this business, and I mentioned this several times on the podcast throughout the past year, but there was an old magazine that is no longer produced. It was an appraisal magazine, and it was called The Communicator. That's what we do. That's what we're supposed to do, is communicate our research and analysis. And I think that communication between the AMC and the lender and the AMC and the appraiser is in fact the key. And I love the fact that you say you treat your appraisers with respect And I think there's also in there, and when you say you set clear expectations, you expect the appraisers to do good work. And most of us do what's expected of us.
Right? It
Yeah.
just lead with positive intent. And I think that has the right mindset for you. Because if you
Yeah.
have anything other than that, it's like, well, you're going to fail in that relationship.
Yeah, no doubt. This award reflects more than volume or growth. It reflects trust and consistency. What does it mean to your team to receive this recognition from the appraisal community?
It means the world to them. It means a great deal because, a lot of people behind the scenes just don't get recognized. They're hardworking. They're dealing with appraisers day in and day out. So I can tell you that this just kind of gives them the kind of the thumbs up that you're supporting the appraisal community the way that you need to, the way that they need. So it really meant the world to the behind the scenes staffs, and it motivates them to kind of keep going, right? Who doesn't like a little bit of a pat on the back saying what you've done to this point? You're doing right, keep going, right? Because there's so many different ways you can be, with negative influences kicked in the teeth. The blogs can be horrible, but if you get this kind of a recognition, it kind of gives you the energy you need to continue on with positivity.
Yeah, the blogs, Facebook, social media, do not read those things. They will not do us any good. Appraiser relationships are a frequent topic around the industry. There's always talk about how we do those things. You mentioned your panel management, your communication expectations, those things. Can you tell me a little bit more about how Accurate Group approaches those things?
Right, so it's excuse me, so it's a two-way communication, right? I think it's really important that we do that kind of electronically, systematically, so we're not disrupting the appraiser out in the field. Because you want to make sure that they're out there, they're in the field, they're concentrating on your customer. So you work very hard to deliver that information electronically. Occasionally text them if it's something for an emergency, but it's more systematic. So it's and I think that's evolved through the years, right? Where starting when I was starting out, I used to get a lot of phone calls or have a lot of messages waiting for me when I got back. So there's a lot of instantaneous on there, messaging kind of going back, but it's really helpful for the appraisers to do that because then I communicate with my customer, we're on track,
Yeah,
or there's an issue with a customer at a home.
yeah,
It helps with more, instantaneous communication, where I think that's really kind of expected these days.
yeah.
But, again, just supporting our panel with respect, with education, with support. I think that is key to, to making sure that we, get it right for our lender customers.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Now, a little bit of a sidebar here. You've mentioned quality control, you've mentioned quality, and that's the most important thing in terms of what you're delivering to your clients. Quality control has evolved and it's going to change even more with this UAD
Mhm.
3.6 business. I'm personally really excited about UAD 3.6. I think it's going to make a huge difference for readers and users. But there are increased data requirements. How are you guys preparing for what is ahead with 3.6?
Right, so we are very well immersed in that right now. We have completed 3 assignments. So this is giving us, kind of like a leg up to know, kind of what's coming and what to do. Obviously, you want to invest in tools and technology, but then also invest in your people with education. We've been supporting our panel with information being sent to them about the education that is out there. Those 17 training modules that the GSEs have put out, and a service provider, an education provider has partnered with us and given us like a discount so our panel can go and get those needed UAD 3.6 education.
Yeah, yeah,
But with those first 3 assignments that we've had, it's very intense with constant communication with the appraiser, the software providers, kind of linking us all together because we all are in this for change.
yeah,
So, with reviewing that for quality with those appraisals, it's very manual right now because the tools aren't quite ready, which I'm not upset about that because I will tell you, I think we need, as appraisers, especially in the QC space, get that muscle memory down for what does the new form look like. So I can validate a tool. I don't want to just go, thank goodness there's a tool. I'm going to let them just tell me what's wrong. I should know what's wrong. I
yeah.
need to learn what's wrong. And so that if I get a hallucination from one of these tools, that I can say, hey, this isn't right. This did not turn out right. This is the way it's supposed to be. So, when with moving forward, it's going to be a lot of communication, I can tell you, in supporting our appraisers. And we had three outstanding appraisers that were like almost like ready to go, willing to do this. So, again, the communication, the support, and the respect,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it was easy with the first three assignments, but I learned so much, and we plan on sharing that out with others.
That's awesome. From your perspective as a chief appraiser, AMC's face challenges. You're going to have to
Mhm.
navigate some new things. You've mentioned, the communication and keeping your panel educated and your people educated, those things. But I'm curious about opportunities. What do you see out there as opportunities to improve the appraisal process for both sides of the equation?
Right. So obviously there's more data that's going to be coming in, right? And more opportunities to, better explain what we're looking at. And I think with that increased data integrity, I think we're going to see fewer QC revisions because you're going to be able to, spell out for an accessory dwelling unit everything that's in there, the quality, except instead of like having one little line on your appraisal that says it has an accessory dwelling unit. Okay, what's the size? What is it? What's in there? What's the quality of this? Is it connected? Is it not? So I think it's going to, help bolster our results. I think it's going to then reduce our QC returns. And I think that also then benefits the lender, and then behind the lender, the customer, right? Because we're all in this to support the customer.
Yeah.
That's the end result. So, we're working with our lender partners as well through this process, but in the end result, I think this is going to be a better experience for the customer. And they're going to have, a report they can more easily read, a report we can all more easily read and more easier to QC. So, I'm excited. I think we're just going to, I think also the assignments are going to keep getting more complex because, we've seen some go to the waivers. So what's left over are the really hard reports. So I've found myself over the past several months on the phones more with appraisers, collaborating and helping them kind of get through those tough assignments of like, how do I handle this? It's got three outbuildings, and how do I handle, this aspect of the report? So a lot more hands-on here, but I think it's needed to kind of get through.
Couple things I'd want to highlight from what you just said. The quality control issue, some appraisers in the blogosphere and social media have said they're trying to take our jobs, they're trying to automate everything. The automation of being able to quickly scan the data in an easily readable format is incredibly helpful to everyone, I think. But the end user getting a report that doesn't have an addendum where the highest and best use is buried on page 342 is really useful. It goes right where it's supposed to go.
Yes.
I think appraisers, the point about more complex. Here's the thing, Michelle, I do not enjoy appraising cookie cutter properties. It is not intellectually stimulating. It is not a fun thing for me. I like difficult properties, and I think a lot of my appraiser friends and cohorts feel the same way. So this idea of we're going to be doing more complex assignments is pretty exciting, number one. And number two, the way UAD 3.6 is put together, if the property has three outbuildings, you've got a data cluster for each one of those outbuildings where you can describe it clearly and plainly right where it's supposed to go. So I'm really excited about this. If you would, get out your crystal ball and tell us what your vision for Accurate Group going forward is.
Right. Well, we have to continue to evolve with the industry. There's always going to be change. This is the biggest, the most monumental change that we've experienced. So, for us, we have to then, like I've been saying, keep collaborating out there with our panel, keep listening to what the GSEs are saying, keep going to those industry meetings. So I see this as a, continual evolvement that we need to have appraisers. I don't want appraisers to think that they're going to go away. We absolutely need your expertise to be able to read these results.
Yeah.
So I don't see them going away. I see this, it's like just like another tool for them to supplement, to kind of help them out.
Yeah.
So, I just think we just have to continue to evolve with the industry. And this is for the next, 365 days is the biggest change we're going to have to face. But appraisers don't go away. We
Yeah.
absolutely need you.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Michelle, thank you again for taking the time to be here. I need to drop off for a second, and we need to hear from one of our sponsors, and we will be right back.
LIA Administrators and Insurance Services, serving valuation professionals since 1978. We provide E&O insurance with a commitment to superior customer service, outstanding liability education, and unmatched claim defense. Explore our exclusive appraiser liability education by Peter Christensen and cost-effective seminars designed to foster your growth. Our underwriters, with an average of 26 years of experience each, are dedicated to supporting appraisers. Visit liability.com to discover how LIA can safeguard your business.
Welcome back, everybody. You're listening to the Appraisal Buzzcast. I'm Hal Humphreys, your host, and I'm joined today by Michelle Golden from Accurate Group, the winners of the 2026 AMC of the Year Award. Michelle, congratulations. I'm really excited about that.
Thank you.
I'm going to warn you, Jim Morrison likes to hit me with these anonymous appraiser questions. And my guest, you this time, gets to experience the chance, the opportunity to look like a fool if we get the answer wrong. So, Jim Morrison, do you have an anonymous appraiser question for us today?
I do, and just a little peek behind the curtain on this. We are recording all of our Buzzy Award winners together. So, Michelle talked about doing 3, which is a big deal for as early as we are in this process, but this might not get released until a little bit later. So we're recording all these at the start of the new year. So it's really important that you guys have taken advantage of this and been some of the first to start putting these out, which is awesome. All right, so our question is one that we've actually gotten a couple times, and I don't think it's too difficult one, but the fact that I've gotten it so many times, I think it's something that we should touch on. So it says, "Good afternoon, guys. I have a subject with an electrical vehicle charging port, and there's no comps with one. How are you guys making an adjustment for EV charging when there's little market data? Does it matter if it increases the electricity bill?"
Wow. Well, it sounds like the paired sales analysis won't work here. This sounds like some of those phone a friend type kind of things where you get your peers together, maybe at lunch, and kind of talk through it. I mean, I'm imagining like you're going to get different results and feedback if you're in Arizona and California than you would if you're in East Texas. So may even take some talking to some local realtors about when they're taking people around for houses. Is this a feature that everybody's looking for? Right? What value are they placing on it themselves? Is this important?
I'm going to throw in there that I don't know where this appraiser is located. I think Michelle's point about, it matters where the EV charging station is. If it's in Middle Tennessee, it may have some impact. If it's in West Tennessee, it probably won't have any measurable impact. If it's in California, it may definitely have an impact. But the one thing I would say is if you're in a market where there are EV chargers, you might just find a property that's not necessarily a comparable and another paired sale with that one and extract a percentage adjustment there. That's a possibility. That is a recognized technique. That is something you could do. There's also the cost issue there. You could maybe address it that way, a depreciated cost issue. I would say as far as the electric expense goes, if there's no EV plugged in, it is not going to increase the electric. And if someone has an EV, they're saving, money on the gas side of things. So I think that's a wash. But I would look at maybe extracting adjustment from another set of paired sales on a percentage basis. And Michelle's notion of getting your peers together and having a huddle and saying, how do we deal with this is a really good way to do it. Jim, did we flub that or did we do a decent job with it?
I think you guys provided some good insight on that. I mean, it's interesting, and we're going to start seeing that more commonly. So I know that's why we've gotten that question so many times.
Yeah.
Okay. Jim, do we have anything else we need to cover today?
No, that's it. Michelle, thank you so much. Congratulations again on the award. And we're looking forward to seeing you for the actual award ceremony at Valuation Expo in August.
Awesome. Can't wait. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You see how we did that? We just roped you in. You're coming to Val Expo now.
I always come to Val Expo. I don't know what you're talking about. So I'm excited. I can't wait. I can't wait to be there. It's my favorite event of the year.
Awesome. Michelle, congratulations again to you and the entire team over there at Accurate Group on being named 2026 AMC of the Year. Thank you for your leadership and your commitment to quality in the appraisal process. We look forward to celebrating you in person at the Buzzy Awards ceremony at Val Expo, which will be held at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas from August 16 to August 19 later this year. And if we have nothing else, for Michelle Golden and Jim Morrison, I'm Hal Humphreys, and that is your Appraisal Buzzcast for today.